Hello everybody, welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. Looking forward to the Eclipse Day action across Britain on Saturday the 8th of July. Only a small field for the Eclipse, of course, not really the type of race that's going to interest me from an each-way punting point of view. And as you know that, I'm really only interested in each-way odds, and that's the way I believe you can make it pay if you play the game along these type of lines over a period of time. And if you happen to be new to this service, do press the subscribe button just below the screen. If you're interested in getting a host more selections for this weekend and going forward at all the big meetings through midweek, next week, of course, the July Festival at Newmarket, and going on through all the other great racing this summer, then check out my subscriber channel at Patreon, Out in Front. Things have been going pretty well over there of late. Now, we had a couple of selections here last week, and the first one of them ran very well indeed, just got beaten there. Mostly Sunny, who was a 15-2 shot, so that was an each-way profit on Mostly Sunny, but unfortunately your one there didn't really run its race. But I'm hoping that the two I have for you, both free bets, free tips here for you this weekend. I'm hoping that they both run really well and are both very good prices this weekend. I'm taking you to the first of them, which is at Haydock in the 205, a 1.75 mile race, the bet 365 handicap. Now, the going is good. Forecast good to soft in places overnight, but it is apparently is drying out and getting very warm, so I don't think it's going to be any worse than good. And this is a really tough race. Plenty of decent 3-year-olds taking each other on, and a good many of them, I think, are probably going to be improving in leaps and bounds at this stage of their 3-year-old career. So potentially quite a few could be a step or three ahead of the handicapper. Now, good old William Haggas has won this twice in the last 3 renewals. So his sole representative here, Lordship, has to be on the short list following recent wins at Chepstow and Yarmouth. Even though those successes came in just a Class 5 competition, I think the tip maybe should be taken to some extent that he's putting this horse straight up to Class 2 after an £8 rise for his latest win. He is going to have to find more to score, but it is quite likely that he is one of those fast improving sorts. But he didn't run particularly well last time he ran here in May, and that for me is just a little bit of a question mark about Lordship. One of the early favourites is Tom Clover's Rogue Sea. He's only had 3 runs so far, this horse, winning novice events at Yarmouth and then most recently at Ripon over 1 mile and 3 furlongs, where he pretty comfortably justified the odds of 5-6. Hard horse to assess, this one. He's obviously useful, and he makes his handicap bow off 90. Now, it's difficult for the assessor to judge him, I think, on those novice stakes wins, and there could be a little bit more left under the bonnet. So I think we're going to learn a lot more about Rogue Sea for a stable that's doing very well this season, and we'll find out more about him on Saturday afternoon. Now, that canny old fox, Sir Mark Prescott, has got his string back in form as usual in high summer. He doesn't do much in spring. Normally in high summer, his horses that have been running in maidens over short trips step up to middle distances, going into handicaps, and start to really clock up the victories. And this has been very much the case with a horse of his called Pledge of Allegiance, a See the Stars gelding, who's gone up a total of £15 over a stone for recent wins at both Redcar and Doncaster. And similarly to Rogue Sea, he could be quite a little bit ahead of the handicapper, but this does represent a much tougher assignment than his recent successes, but it remains very much one to have plenty of respect for. Now, the rest, the Chester maiden winner over 1.5 miles, Banderas, trained by Michael Bell. And the Salisbury 1.5 mile handicap winner last time out, Galactic Jack for Andrew Balding, a horse who won despite drifting right across the track at Salisbury, and he still won comfortably last time out. There are others to consider, and with 3 bullets to fire at this race, I believe Charlie Johnston might be the trainer to have on your side. And that brings me to my selection, because Johnston is represented in this race by the top weight Struth, who was down the field in the King George V handicap at Ascot last time and goes up a couple of furlongs here. And he's also got a horse called Bulldog Spirit, who won over 1.5 miles at Doncaster on his penultimate start, then was second in a muddling Goodwood 3-runner race last time. He's another going up in trip. But the one I like of the Johnston trio is a horse called Midnight Lion. And this one is the mount of one of my favourite jockeys, the veteran Joe Fanning, and gets the nod here after a really pleasing 1.75 maiden win at Goodwood last time out. Now that win, it has to be said, it wasn't before time. It was the Nathaniel Colt's 6th racecourse appearance. But he had shown ability on a number of occasions previously, and this is a very big, powerful, long-striding horse who seems to finally just be starting to fill out that big frame, and he's getting his act together. Now, in a way, it was a bit of a surprise to me that he won at Goodwood last time out, because I wasn't sure the course would suit such a big horse with a raking long stride. And you would have thought he would be far better suited by a galloping track, a bit like Haydock. Once you turn into the home straight, there's half a mile to set yourself up and get balanced and run to the judge. And I think the course is really going to suit him on Saturday. It did transpire, though, at Goodwood, though, that despite horses having a crack at him from 3 furlongs out, Midnight Lion showed plenty of guts and stamina and saw them off with half a furlong to run in that 1.75 event, and he was going away from them at the finish. Now, it remains on the same mark of 8-1, which means the handicapper didn't take the result. He wasn't too shocked by it. But what that does mean, for example, is that Midnight Lion is a stone better off with Galactic Jack for just a length, that he was beaten by Galactic Jack in September at Goodwood in a 10-furlong juvenile maiden. Admittedly, Galactic Jack has done well since then, but I think Midnight Lion is now very much on the up. And that 1 stone turnaround for a length is a massive amount. Now, with one of the very best front-running jockeys in the business on board in Joe Fanning, I think Midnight Lion is going to go really well. Now, he was generally 14-1 earlier in the afternoon, but at the time of this recording, at about 5:30 on Friday evening, just the one film still going 14-1, and that one is Corals. For 4 places, Midnight Lion. The rest are going 12, so try and get on at the 14, or hopefully by the time you see this, maybe some of the others will have come back in at 14-1. But it does suggest that there's a few people sniffing around this one, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Midnight Lion race prominently and try to wind it up from over 3 furlongs out and gradually try and hold them at bay. And Joe Fanning is one of the best in the business, like Frankie Dettori really, at riding from the front. That's Midnight Lion over at Haydock. I'm going to take you on to my second selection now for Saturday here at Sportsbet, and that is in the 2:25 race, another really tough handicap. It's the Mile Coral Challenge handicap. They're forecasting good to soft in places at Sandown, but again, we think that's probably going to dry out to be good at best. 15 runners declared, betting 6-1 the field last time I looked, and in fact, I'm just looking now, you can get 7-1 the field. So this really is something of a lottery, a £100,000 handicap. Fiendishly difficult was my note on the screen here. And I've made out the case for the market leader, Perotto here, being at the top of the market. He used to be trained by Marcus Tragoni. He's now with Roger Varian. And I think a lot of people remember his very, very good win in the Britannia Handicap of 2021, but he hasn't run since then. He's on a losing run of 15. He's run a series of very good races, and he was actually made favourite for his seasonal return, which was at Royal Ascot in the Royal Hunt Cup last time out. He only finished 10th there. He wasn't beaten a mile. Perotto, you know, one of those horses that the bookies are always wary of, but he's had 15 chances since that Royal Ascot win, and you know, he's a bookie's horse really, even if he goes and wins on Saturday. Now the other market leader is Indemnify, 7-1 in places for Alice Haynes, who did really well actually for Roger Varian last season, and he also won over course and distance on his reappearance last time out on May the 25th for Roger. But he then went to the sales. Connections decided to sell him before Royal Ascot. He was sold for 125,000 quid, a lot of money, and they moved him to Alice Haynes. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he goes for his new connections off a £5 higher mark than his course and distance win last time. But obviously a horse that enters calculations. Now Uzo, trained by Jamie Osborne, was very good when finishing 6th in the Royal Hunt Cup, and he has to be respected. And so too Positive for the Clive Cox yard, who was 8th that day in the Royal Hunt Cup. And both he and Uzo have been dropped a pound. The Goodwood winner is Skeptic, trained by Andrew Balding, gone up £6 for its Goodwood win. It was pretty convincing, though. And he looks back to his best, so he could be a danger to all. While both Mason and Dutch Decoy meet again, having been first and second over the course and distance in June. Both of them are in good form, and neither should be very far off. Me on to and at 8 years old, my choice is Major Partnership, who's trained by Saeed bin Saror and is going to be the mount of Tom Queally. Now, he's the joint oldest horse in the field, along with Orban and Intelligent. But he is a horse who's been really lightly raced over recent seasons, and I think he still has plenty to offer. Now, the fact is that this Godolphin horse in recent years has done most of his running over in Dubai at Maydown, where he's won enlisted company. But clearly he suffered probably a major injury or some sort of major setback in the spring of 2020, when he should have been at his prime, really. Whatever it was, he was absent for well over 2 years. That's a very long absence. He didn't come back to racing until late summer of last year, and then he went racing at Maydown in the winter, where he ran okay, nothing spectacular, but it was after another 100-day break and having returned to Britain to Saeed bin Saror that all of a sudden he seemed to click and very much looked back to himself when he ran on very strongly indeed to beat the decent handicapper Point Linus at Nottingham by 3/4 of a length. Now, he was giving Point Linus £3 over the extended mile just over a month ago, and I think that was a very good effort indeed. Now, he's gone up £4 for that win, but there did appear to me to be a little bit left in the locker. And as I say, he's a fairly low mileage horse, and he's now available at the time of this recording at 18-1 each way. And that price is available with both Paddy Power and Betfair for 4 places. Other firms go a variety of prices from 16-1 down to 12-1. So do shop around, but 18-1 available for 4 places each way. And I'd be very optimistic that the big sort of powerful looking grey Major Partnership is going to run a big race. And Frankel's jockey, Tom Queally. And he's my second choice on Saturday. So 2 nice priced horses for you there each way, with my free bets here at Sportsbet. Remember, if you're interested in the others that I'm fancying over the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, you can check out my subscription service at the link below at Patreon. But for the time being, I'm going to leave it right there for you. I'll be back same time next week with my preview of next weekend's action. I wish you the very best of luck this weekend and going through next week as well in the first couple of days of the July meeting at Newmarket. Bye-bye for now.